January 2024, Silicon Valley, California. Employees at TechVault arrive at work to find their CEO in a state of panic. The company's accounts have been drained overnight. $2.7 billion gone. Security teams scramble to understand what happened. The FBI is called, but it's too late. A single email, appearing to come from the chief financial officer, had instructed the finance team to transfer funds for an urgent, confidential acquisition. By the time anyone realized something was wrong, the money had vanished, scattered across cryptocurrency wallets in dozens of countries. In one of the largest digital heists in history, a sophisticated hacker known only by the alias Phantom managed to steal $2.7 billion, using nothing more than carefully crafted emails and social engineering. After impersonating C-level executives at TechVault, one of America's most secure financial technology companies, Phantom disappeared, along with the funds. How did they pull off such a massive scam? Why did TechVault's advanced security systems fail to detect it? And where did the money go? Join us as we unravel the shocking story of the largest business email compromise in history, exploring the tactics, deception, and unanswered questions behind this mind-blowing cybercrime. In our connected world, the greatest thefts don't require breaking into vaults, just breaking trust. If protecting your financial future matters to you, hit subscribe now. Our alerts could be your digital shield when you need it most. 2023, Eastern Europe. In a nondescript apartment, a hacker with exceptional skills begins researching TechVault, a company worth over $50 billion with some of the best cybersecurity in the world. What made TechVault an attractive target wasn't their technology, but their people. The company had recently announced a major expansion, with plans to acquire smaller firms. This created the perfect cover for a large money transfer that wouldn't immediately raise suspicions. For 6 months, Phantom meticulously built digital dossiers on key executives. They studied the CFO's writing style from LinkedIn posts and company memos. They analyzed the CEO's speech patterns from earnings calls and interviews. They mapped the entire corporate structure, identifying exactly who could authorize large transfers. Unlike conventional hackers who attempt to breach security systems, Phantom never tried to crack TechVault's digital defenses. Instead, they prepared for something far more effective: manipulating human trust. December 2023. After months of preparation, Phantom registered a domain that looked nearly identical to TechVault's official email, techvault.com, with a capital I instead of an L. The difference was virtually invisible in most email clients. From this domain, they crafted an email chain that appeared to show ongoing correspondence between the CEO and CFO discussing a confidential acquisition. The language perfectly mimicked both executives' writing styles. Then, on January 15th, 2024, at precisely 4:52 p.m., just as the finance team was rushing to complete end-of-day tasks, an email arrived from what appeared to be the CFO to the head of Treasury Operations. The email referenced previous discussions about the acquisition and included wire transfer instructions for $2.7 billion to accounts in Singapore, ostensibly for the first payment. The email emphasized the confidential nature of the deal and instructed the recipient not to discuss it with anyone outside the email chain. Within 20 minutes, the transfers were initiated. By morning, the money had been moved through multiple banks across Asia. January the 16th, 2024. The real CFO arrives at work, completely unaware of what happened. At 9:47 a.m., he receives a routine confirmation email about yesterday's unusually large transfers. Confused, he calls the Treasury Department. Panic erupts. Emergency meetings are convened. The company's stock plummets 37% within hours of the news breaking. Internal investigations quickly identify the fraudulent domain, but by then it's far too late. The transfers had already been processed through 3 different banks, making recovery nearly impossible. Kevin Zhang, TechVault's head of cybersecurity, later admitted, "We had over $50 million in security systems designed to prevent technical breaches, but this attack exploited something technology can't easily fix: human psychology and trust." FBI agents arrive within hours, but they face a daunting challenge. The money has already been converted to cryptocurrency and moved through multiple exchanges using hundreds of separate wallets. Blockchain analysts tracked the initial transfers to exchanges in Singapore, where the funds were immediately converted to Bitcoin and Monero, a cryptocurrency specifically designed for privacy and anonymity. From there, the trail becomes increasingly complex. Blockchain intelligence firm ChainTracker identified over 7,000 separate transactions used to obscure the money's path. Some funds were moved through mixing services that combined cryptocurrencies from multiple sources, making them virtually impossible to trace. Within 48 hours, portions of the funds began reappearing on exchanges in Eastern Europe, the Middle East, and Southeast Asia, suggesting a coordinated global operation. What alarmed investigators most was the precision of the operation. Unlike typical cryptocurrency thefts where hackers move funds erratically, Phantom's transactions followed a carefully orchestrated pattern designed to exploit specific blind spots in international financial monitoring systems. By the end of January, authorities had managed to freeze approximately $180 million, less than 7% of the stolen funds. As the FBI expanded their investigation, a disturbing pattern emerged. Similar business email compromise attacks had targeted 3 other major companies in the previous year, though none at the scale of TechVault. Digital forensics revealed sophisticated operational security. Phantom had used advanced VPNs and the Tor network, leaving virtually no digital footprint. The fake domain had been registered using stolen credentials from a Malaysian university student. The Bitcoin wallets were created using infrastructure that couldn't be traced. Most concerning to investigators was the level of insider knowledge displayed in the emails. The communication referenced internal projects and used company-specific terminology that wouldn't be publicly available. This suggested either extensive corporate espionage or the possibility of an insider threat. By March 2024, the investigation had expanded to involve law enforcement agencies in 14 countries, but Phantom remained completely anonymous. The TechVault heist represents a new evolution in cybercrime, where social engineering meets sophisticated financial obfuscation at an unprecedented scale. What makes business email compromise so devastating is that it bypasses traditional security completely. No malware was used, no systems were hacked. All security certifications and protocols were followed. The attack exploited the most vulnerable part of any organization: human trust. TechVault has since implemented a mandatory 24-hour hold on all transfers over $10 million, with verification required through multiple channels, including voice verification and in-person confirmation. They've also developed an AI system that analyzes writing patterns to identify potential email impersonation. For individuals and businesses, the lessons are clear. First, verify large financial requests through multiple channels. Never rely on email alone. Second, implement approval workflows that require consensus from multiple decision makers for significant transactions. Third, create verification codes or phrases known only to key executives that must be included in any financial requests. And finally, establish mandatory waiting periods for large transfers, creating time for proper verification. As of May 2025, approximately $340 million of TechVault stolen funds have been recovered. The remainder is likely lost forever. Phantom's identity remains unknown, though intelligence agencies reportedly have leads pointing to several possible suspects. The TechVault heist demonstrates that in today's interconnected world, the greatest financial threats aren't smash-and-grab robberies or sophisticated technical hacks. They're carefully orchestrated deceptions that exploit the fundamental human tendency to trust. The next multi-billion-dollar heist is likely already being planned, with criminals studying cases like TechVault to create even more convincing impersonations. The question isn't if it will happen again, but when and whether potential victims will have learned from those who came before them. Trust, but verify, always. This is Dark Data Files, decoding the digital underworld together.